Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Manifestation Real Talk. With me today is the infamous Richard Lang of the Headless Way. And while,
It's not really me. I'm
I
just
was
got
going
a
to say, I knew you
substitute.
were going to say that. I was so
I've
prepared for
got
that.
Richard standing in for me.
Well, one of the things I love about Richard is for me, you brought the Headless Way to the masses. While, yes, Douglas Harding, I guess we could say, even he wasn't the originator, right? I mean, he got the inspiration from the
I
art.
like the way you're going with this. Yes.
I mean, and somebody inspired that artist and somebody else inspired that person. There's no originator other than what's arising from within us. We're the originators. But
You're on the right track here.
of
Yeah.
course, who do you think you're talking to? But Richard I love you kind of, for me, you brought it, you dumbed it down. For me, you totally dumbed it down because I read
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
very much, please do, because Douglas Harding, I love him, but for me, if I'm reading
I have a friend who introduced me. He first met me in a workshop I did in Australia, and later on he said, the really good thing about Richard, what I really liked about him, what was so impressive, was how unimpressive he was.
And you're going,
he was just an ordinary person. Oh, right. Thanks.
Okay. I think that was a compliment.
This introduction is going well, isn't it?
It is. Hey, this is the way I roll. Richard wrote a fantastic book back in 2003 on the Headless Way. Definitely. Didn't it originally come with you had the website first and then came your book? Or do I have that back? Yeah.
And then I ran a course online.
Yeah.
Way back, and then I turned that into the book. I made the course up as I went along.
Yeah.
And I said I would write a course every day as I went along. I had about 900 people signed up. I mean, just going back.
Yeah, this is all in the book. I love it.
And I wrote the first course, sent it out. And I wrote the next course. It's going to be a course of 10 classes. And then the next day came and I thought, oh, I've got to write one of these every day. There's 900 people waiting for me. So I had to draw on the true author. See, that was a good experience.
Capital Y-O-U.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, and I think that was one of my most favorite parts of the book because you literally surrendered, right? You're just like, okay, I got to practice what I'm preaching here.
I know. Damn.
I like my white knuckle grip of control of this reality.
Yes, exactly.
And how's that working out for us?
I know, exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, for those of you guys that are like, well, what's the title of the book? All that information is going to be below. But the title of the book is Seeing Who You Really Are. And I love that you said seeing who you really are. Because how do you see when you don't have a head? But anyway, we're going to go into all of that.
Well, now you ask me. That is a problem. I can see. Yes, that could undermine the whole thing.
How the heck? And it's just one thing. So, guys, those of you that are watching this, I'm assuming you all know the Headless Way. For those of you that don't,
they're still watching.
I know they're calling. The Headless Way is such an empowering technique to really, as Richard said, he had to fall back on the one who really knows. And, for me, that I call that your capital Y-O-U in bold. And the Headless Way guides you through all that. And there's some fun techniques to just take you there instantly, such as probably one of my favorites. And the first one I realized or was introduced to, God, back in, I think it was 2000, was where the hands, if you take your hands
Ah,
and Richard's
yes.
gonna, oh, I love that one. You take your hands and you could sit here and go, oh, it goes into your periphery. I can't see it anymore. But this takes you beyond that. And now let me ask you, did one of
Well,
the
when you
one,
do that, you see,
yeah,
obviously, you know from the outside that your hands go past your head. You can see that on the screen. But if the viewer actually does it themselves,
yeah,
you'll
look
see
away
your
from the
hands
screen,
disappear. Yeah,
disappear.
that's right. And I say, from my point of view, they disappear into who I really am, into this great open space that is full of Kristen at the moment and the whole world. Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that
So it
wonderful?
is speaking up for one's own experience and standing up for one's own point of view and saying, I know I'm small from the outside, but from the inside, I am vast.
I'm enormous. And I really love how you talk about the nothing and how everything is in the nothing. Because I wrote a book a while ago called The 3-2-1 No More Pain. And in this book, I took people who were experiencing pain one way or another, whether it was a physical pain or emotional pain or addictive pain or whatever. And I had them, this was before I found your book and found you, but I had discovered that when you find the source of your pain, wherever it is, find it in your body. Now, and then you go just 3-2-1 and exhale and feel, just feel with that part of you that's back here, feel into that space of pain. You discover the nothing. You click like that into the nothing.
Yes. Well, I mean, the nothing is nearer to you than anything, including pain. And in fact, it's the most obvious thing. You can't see your head, instead you see the world. I mean, seeing the world is a bit difficult. Are you sure that you're seeing it as it's given? You might be dreaming. You can only see the front of something and not the back at the same time. It is hidden. But when you look this way, there's nothing to get wrong. And that is the most obvious, most beautiful, simple, and it's where pain comes from, but it does not, pain does not affect it. So there's your freedom from pain. Now you say, well, does that make the pain go away? Well, not necessarily. It will go away anyway in its own time, but not necessarily. But does it make a difference to know, to be aware, to experience that where you are, you're pain-free? Well, try it out. I say it does.
Oh,
Yeah.
huge. And
Yeah.
the whole book was case studies and their stories,
Mm,
discovering that nothing and how it shifted their 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 interaction with pain, their relationship with the pain. And
mm.
wow, blew me away. I mean, I was just and it was so wonderful when I found the Headless Way and found the book, because it all kind of confirmed that to me, confirmed what I was already thinking. It's so wonderful when you're thinking it yourself, but when other outside thumbs up come up, you get like, oh, okay, I'm not
I
the
think
only
the
one.
Headless Way confirms what your experience is, you see. It's not really showing you anything new. It's waking you up to what is the most familiar. It's you see, it's you. It's the part of you that is constant. So yes, the Headless Way confirms. It doesn't teach you something new. Yeah.
I love that you said the most familiar. I love that, because that's so
Mm.
true. When you do touch in on, when you do, so you guys that are listening, there's all sorts of exercises to do, and they're all in the book or they're on the website, The Headless Way. Um, it Each one of these exercises, which are so simple to do, just my girlfriend calls it breaking your brain. They just you everything just goes and you're like, oh, there I am. There is the one who's been beside me all this time. And you're right there, splatted up against you. It's right there.
The thing is that they are simple exercises of perception. They're not exercise to hype up how you're feeling. they're more about dropping back down into what is always there. So sometimes people say, all right, well, I can't see my head. I see the world, or my hands disappear into nothing. But so what? It doesn't make me feel any better. And I say, that is a very good question. Now, let's see what it does mean to you. You know, if it means nothing, so be it. I'm happy to tell you what it means to me, but you know, let's explore it together. You know, what does it mean when you look at someone else and you notice it's face to no face, so that you don't see your own face at the same time? What does that mean to you? So, oh, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what it means to me. It means that there's nothing in the way of the other person. I have their face instead of my own. I am empty for you. I disappear in your favor.
Ooh.
Now, you know. Oh, I didn't think you were going to go into the deep end.
Oh, please do. The deep end is where I
The deep end
thrive.
is the shallow end, isn't it? It's right on the surface.
Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And that's why I was so thrilled about the revision. When I was reading your book and I saw that you'd revised it in 2011, I was like, ooh, fun. I love that. I love when, you know, because who I was when I wrote the 3-2-1 No More Pain is, you know, the foundation is still there, the capital YOU, but I've learned so much more.
And what it means is always developing, and you come to it fresh every moment, and you can't remember it. I mean, you can't remember who you really are. You can only be aware of it in the moment. But then it will mean something different now than it did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And it'll mean something different to your friend now. And we are having a conversation, two people, two voices in one consciousness. The one consciousness is coming up, creating this conversation that it's never had before.
And creating memories that you have had it before.
Even that, it's a very
Even
smart
that.
nothing. Yes.
Very smart. So for you guys that have given me some questions to ask Richard, we'll go there. And we'll just see what it develops.
I'll just go and get my book.
No, let's see what comes out of the can't remember that before. And I do want to say, I love that you said that about not being able to remember, because we do, sometimes I do that. I'm like, oh, this was brilliant. I got to remember this. And you write it down. Well, when do you ever go back to what you write down? When do you ever go back to that and go, oh yeah, and have that same feeling of expansion and epiphany and whoa. A lot of times I'll look at what I wrote down and go, what did I mean by that? What the heck did that mean?
Yes. That happens more and more.
I noticed that.
All right, what are these questions?
All right. So the first question is, how has been your I am influenced by being headless?
Well, I am headless. I don't know. I'm not quite sure I know what that means. I think, okay, here's an answer. Here's the answer. The answer is that headlessness makes awareness of my true nature available at will. At will.
Ooh.
That is fantastic. That is the bee's knees. Yeah, at
drop
will.
The mic.
It's not dependent on how you feel or how much work you've done. I don't know, whatever that means, or who you are as a person or any history. Look now, can you see your head? No, do you see the world instead? So the fact that it is available at will, and you can test that now, and now is the only time to test it, but anytime you can test it. This takes the heat off. You stop taking your spiritual temperature. What I mean by that is, how well am I doing? Am I closer to it? Am I further away? Am I surrendering enough? All that is put aside when you realize that it is there all the time. It is available all the time at will. There can be no hierarchy in this because it is 100% available at will. no matter what is going on in your life. This is so kind and practical, true, freeing. So the accessibility of it, the headless way, whatever way you come into your true nature is great. It's brilliant, because the end destination, which is right here where you are at zero, it's the same. How could it be different? There's no content here. It's just empty. Now the thing is, how do you get there? You see, how do you get there? Find your own way. But I say the headless way offers you, this is spirituality for dummies. This is like if you tried all the rest of it and you've got, here you are. Well, don't be embarrassed. We're all, point. Oh, well, it's rather embarrassing to do that. But I know. But if you're desperate enough, you'll do it.
Yeah. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah. So availability at will. This is major. Because
Jeez.
you read about all these people who meditate to try and get to this for years and years and years and never do it, or whatever. My heart goes out to them. But if you have spent more than 5 minutes looking,
God, you're speaking my language. You're just so speaking my language.
I say the headless way is the McDonald's, because it's fast, cheap, and takeaway. Yeah, but you don't have to. You don't have to join anything. You take it with you. We say point. We say, can you see your head? No. Can you see the world? It said, okay, you're good to go.
You've got your certificate. You graduated. Yeah. There you go.
Hang around if you like as a friend, but
Oh my God. I love this, because even in my book, 3, 2, 1, No More Pain, that process, I was like going, it's so much easier than
that's a long time. Path.
That countdown.
That took about 3 seconds.
Can we just jump over that and just go straight to it, please?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. I haven't even got time for 3, 2, 1.
I know.
Well, this is what we need in the world today. We need something in the world that makes it available to everyone, because everyone's got busy lives and they're not going to go and sit in a monastery. They're not going to do a tough retreat. Some will, but most people are not. I won't anymore.
No.
But so we need some, because we desperately need to see who we are as a species, because the world is going to hell in a handbasket. It always has done, actually. It's not like it's going to make utopia. But my God, when we stop playing the face game that we are separate from each other and the animals and the earth, well, how do we get there? You see, well, internet is great.
Yeah.
That's part of the whole process of the one saying, enough is enough. We need to get this out within at least no more than 5 years.
Yeah.
You say, well, how are you going to do that? I was reading a workshop transcript of Douglas Harding back in '83 in California, and he was saying, well, people have been talking about this for more than 2,000 years, and where has it got us? So what we need is enough of this talk, is actual direct experience.
Yeah.
That's what we need now. We haven't sorted out free will. If we haven't sorted out free will by now, really, But what we need is direct experience. Well, that's what our Headless Way is offering. And it is very, very kind of humble, and it's basically free, and there's no hierarchy, and it means to you as much as you want it to mean, or whatever. And it is easy to share. We're sharing it. You see, I'm no doubt at all, you see, Kristen, that you're looking at the same nothingness as I am. So we're equals here, talking about our different response to this one consciousness.
Oh,
Yeah.
preach it, brother.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, drop the mic. Who needs any of these other
Well, I
questions?
mean, why not be joyful? You know, because it is the most joyful fact that you are the one and there's nothing outside you. Nothing can harm you. You know,
Yes.
you are absolutely, totally stable. Everything within it is going up and down, and my life is going up and down. And you know, I veer one way, so I try and get back to balance, and I go the other way. That is life.
Yeah.
But the whole is stable. Stable. Well, don't overlook this fantastic fact that it is you
Yeah.
are totally stable. You are totally safe. It's magical. I mean, it's just wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say you can't be less of a God, and because that's the only word I have for it. But that space of you, YOU, you can't be less in there. There's no more. There's no less. It's just like you
You
said.
know, there's
Stable is so beautiful a word.
yeah. I don't know if this answers your viewer's question, but I developed this technique because of communication about who we really are. Because I have for years and years, of course, gone around doing workshops, and I love doing workshops. You know, introducing people to their true nature and taking people through the experiments. You see. And after a while, I realized actually, probably the person who benefits most from this is me, because I go around articulating my experience. So I declare in public who I really am. That is a powerful thing to do. I mean, whatever the truth you're saying about yourself, when you say it in public, you can't take it back, you know, and it's out there. Well, it's the same with who you are. So then I thought, well, if you really want others to grow in this, you better give them the chance to articulate. So I developed a communication exercise where I say to the other person, I say, to you now, Kristen, I am space for you. I am you, you see, I am empty for you. And then I empathize and I say, and when I put myself in your shoes, you don't see your face, you have Richard's face, you are empty for me, right? So now, then you would do it, right?
Yeah.
And not only do I get people to do this in pairs, and it's fantastic thing to do. I mean, it like any communication that is sincere with another person. But then I also get people to, if they want, say it to the whole group. If we've got, say, 30 people, because it's not just others who, because normally when you say to someone, I am space for you, they'll say, no, you're not.
That's not what I see.
I can see you're not. I say, I've absolutely no face here. Yes, you do. Yeah, I know I do it for you, but I do it for me, you know. But when you're with someone who gets it, you don't have to explain. You enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Like we are doing.
Yeah.
So when in a group, normally if you're in a group and you said to the group, I am space for all of you, the whole group will go, no, you're not. Right? That's society. Growing up, you learn to identify with what you look like, and society tells you you're what you look like. Society isn't telling you that you're God, you know, you're space for the world. They're saying, no, you're Richard, you know, you better get over it. And, you know, there you go. So anyway, I was just before the pandemic, I was doing a workshop in Finland, and I was introducing this technique, you see, right towards the end of the workshop, the second day. And I was inviting people to come and sit next to me and say to the whole group, I am space for you and you're space for me, which is quite a powerful thing. You know, most people are not used to sitting up and saying something to a group, never mind this. Anyway, this woman came up and she said, you know, I've been waiting to do this all my life. Oh, what are you going to say? So she stood up and she said to the whole group, because people were saying, you know, I am space for you, I am empty. She stood up and she says, I am God. And the whole group went, yes, you are, because the group has to respond. Now, isn't that wonderful? And it's genuine. This is not like oh, well, let's pretend she is. We all know she isn't really, you know, but let's sort of make her feel better. No, it's not that. This is just namaste. This is namaste.
Oh, yeah.
Namaste isn't just being nice. It's not just a gesture of, you know, of human respect. It's a gesture of divine respect. Namaste is saying, I absolutely recognize that where you are is the one. Because I can see it's true where I am. And why would it not be the same for you? See? Now, this is the most profound respect. So the headless way, you see, headless way. Yeah. Well, that's the short answer, Kristen.
That was beautiful. Oh God. God, you know, the transformation for her to stand up and say that, and
Oh,
giving
yeah.
everybody in that room permission to feel that, to
And for
feel,
everyone to say back,
yeah,
you know, and until you do these things, like with anything like that, you don't get the power of it. I mean, it might not be powerful for you, but
yeah. I've
I
never
find
met
it.
anybody it hasn't been.
Well, I mean, the fact that we are now here talking about being the one, as well as this mystery of being two, right?
Yeah.
Because being the one doesn't kind of mean that there isn't also two. I love that. You see, the one has room enough for there to be many. Awakening to being the one doesn't mean then you just kind of only understand that, oh, there are no others, you know, there's nothing beyond my experience, all of this. Okay, I get that. Got that. But the other side of the coin of this mystery is that the one is also many. And the one is talking to itself. I mean, wouldn't you want that if you had a choice? I
Yeah.
would.
Well, especially
Anyway.
to have these level of conversations, right? That's my dream. That's my thank you. Thank you. So,
Good.
speaking of the pandemic, I'm going to ask you my own question. How did you approach all of that chaos from you?
Well, to be honest, it made no difference at all, except I couldn't go out, you know. But actually, you know, I'm retired. I was a therapist for years, and I've always, you know, since I was a teenager, I've devoted my life to sharing headlessness. But I had to make a living, so I was a psychotherapist. I taught Tai Chi for 30 years. I taught 5 rhythm dance. Love all that. But then, before the pandemic, before we knew anything about it, I decided that I would retire from that, so I could devote all of my life to sharing the headless way without having to spend so much time doing these other things, which I love to do, but you can't do everything, you know, quite. So I was, you know, I'd almost wound down when the pandemic hit. And so I was going to just be doing my own thing anyway. So it meant I couldn't travel. I've traveled a lot all over the world doing workshops. So it cut that out. But I had other projects to do. And of course, there's the internet. But now that the pandemic is sort of beginning to retreat, hopefully, I am, you know, gradually getting back to traveling, which is just, I now run workshops at home. I have, you know, run things here. And it's a delight to actually meet people, you know, and share this, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
So pandemic, what pandemic? I know, a huge thing, a huge thing, a huge
I
thing.
thought it was just amazing. I really, the invitation within it for me to not be defiant, but to just say, you know, this is my reality. This is my world. And do I want to play here? Or how do I want to play with this? And just to explore that, just to have fun, just to have fun. You know, I'm all
Well,
about the
I
fun.
think what you were saying in the beginning about pain, that there's a certain sense from the point of view of who you really are,
Yeah.
where you can, it's a non-verbal experience, but you can understand it in different ways. And there isn't one way of understanding it. and there's everybody's way of understanding it is valid as far as I'm concerned, and is changing. But one way of understanding it, you'll be familiar with, is, oh well, everything is just arising in the space. I have no choice, see. But the other side of it is actually it's all coming from me, and it is all my will, and I'm responsible for all of it, including the pandemic. You say, well, why would you create the pandemic? Yeah, good question. Good question, you see. Good question. But whether you can answer that question or not does not change the fact that it's come from your own being.
Yeah.
That it is flowing from that mysterious source that within you. And this changes everything. This you're not at that level a victim. And that changes everything. You then, the world is yours, like you were saying, and is embraced, more than embraced, more than loved, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's enormous. Yes. The within that of saying, this is my reality, there is this, what you were saying back and forth of saying, I am a space for you. It's doing that with your world. It's the, I am the space that you are arising from, that tree, that leaf, that molecule, that everything. And for me to take ownership, but from a space of absolute adoration and love, was and awe. It's the awe of going, this is amazing. This is amazing. I did this. I want to know more.
And the wonderful thing is, behind all of that, in the nothingness, as you called it, in this space you're looking out of, there's nothing to maintain, not even awe and wonder and love. If you had to be awe-filled and loving all the time, I mean, it'd be very tiring.
Exhausting. Exhausting.
Yeah.
Yes.
But fortunately, I was lying down this afternoon. It's after, it's evening here now, and just relaxing. And I had this image where I thought I had my eyes closed for a while, and I was just nothing, nothing with the darkness and a few sensations and sound. You see, I thought, it's just like an actor who has been playing a part, and you've got all your makeup on and all your costume, and you're completely in it, and you're under the pressure of the audience, and there's no let up, and then you go out and it's break time, and you sit in the green room or in your room, and you sort of take your costume off, and you're just yourself. You don't have to play the game. Well, it's like that, except you're living like that. Where you are, you're not playing. You don't have to play that game. Yeah. We call it the face game. The face game.
Yeah, the face game. Yes, I love the face game.
What game are you talking about, Richard? I'm talking about the great game of pretending that I am a person. You see, well, you're a person. Well, look, from my point of view, I don't have a head. I'm not behind the face.
Yeah.
That I think that you can see it directly now. You look, you see, that's it. You can't see your face. You're looking out at this wide open, clear clarity, you see. But it will take the rest of your life for that to sink in, What a journey. Yeah,
Life.
What a journey.
Life.
That'll be another topic.
We can go deep into that subject right there. Yeah. Oh, this is so good. It's so fun listening to you, because it's like I'm listening to my own thoughts, but the thoughts of when I'm like taking a nap and going, and some brilliant thought comes up, and you want to grab it and examine it a little bit more, and oh no, it's already gone. And you're like, oh, damn it. Hate when that happens. But let's get back to the questions. And you know what? I'm going to jump ahead to one of them, because I think you really touched in on this. So basically this is like, do you play with manifestation, and how is manifestation affected by being headless? Like, you're eating. Are you really eating? Are you eating something because that something is going into the nothing, and you get to play So if we're looking at manifesting health, manifesting weight loss, things like that, people are trying to go there. Don't giggle. Come on, we gotta be serious here. How do you play with that from the space of headless?
Well, I was just thinking why I giggled was because it was just an old joke we had. You see, headlessness is instant weight loss.
Ta-da!
Whoa, hey, I only wanted to lose a few
I
pounds.
wanted the
didn't mean
long
everything.
answer. That was too easy.
Yeah. I go, whoa, can I have some of this back, please? And I'd like to get rid of this spot on my face. Oh, I didn't mean my whole face. I meant just the spot.
Yeah. So
well, I think that I think there's two things. One is this energizes you for life and for creating and for achieving something and being involved. It's not about somehow dropping out, it's dropping in, you see. So that this takes the brakes off about living. But the paradox, excuse me, the paradox is that I think that gradually it dawns on one that who's in charge. And that you thought you were working for yourself, but actually you're not. And the one you really, really are has other ideas, you see. And I thought we were going this way. I want to go, no. I want to go, no. Now, gradually, we go kicking and screaming into heaven. We realize that what the one wants to do, I should turn that off. What the one wants to do is far more interesting and exciting and smart than what I want to do. I mean, what I want to do is part of it, So, I mean, it's not like it is one fighting the other. But, there are many times a day you realize that you're not in charge. And how that, you see, I think that it's the story of the prodigal son in the Christian religion, that you have to go away from home and forget who you are, so that you can then remember and come back home. You can't come back if you haven't been away. You can't remember if you haven't forgotten. And you can't appreciate the profound wisdom of who you really are unless you've been pretending to know something. Now, I think that in terms of health, I mean, it's going to make a difference, physically to you, when you experience that you're not in a box. You really are not
in a
contained.
box.
So you say, well, what about your physical sensations? Well, they're just not. They're not happening in the space. They're happening in awareness. My thoughts and feelings are not buzzing around in a little box here. They're out there with the wall. Where I imagine a mountain, it's there next to the tree I can see. It's all going on within this boundless clarity, this no mind, this freedom, you see. Now, begin to get acclimatized to being, unboxed. Do they come with a box? No.
No. But what shape is the box? There is no box. But how big is the box? There is no box.
But you act as if there is a box, right? That's the wonderful thing, you see. So when you're a baby, no box and no awareness of a box. Growing up is becoming aware of who others see you to be and taking that on board. That's the prodigal son bit. That's the going away. That's the overlooking of who you really are and identifying with the one in the mirror, the one that others. So now you stand up before the group and say, I'm Richard. See, I'm separate from you. I'm behind the face here. I'm not you. Great. Got that. Right there. Now, when you wake up to who you really are, two things. you're reawakening to that familiar, always being there, unboxed openness. See, that is a very, I shouldn't have said that. Unboxed is
That was a
a
spoiler.
secret. Yes.
You
Oh
just
well,
ruined the
it's
ending.
out now. You got to go back. So the contrast. You see, the contrast.
Yeah.
You only realize things when you can contrast them. I think. You see. So now you realize how wonderful it is to be vast because you've been feeling small. How wonderful it is to include everything because you felt that you've included so little, in your life. So this is good for you physically, good for you mentally, to see that your mind is at large, good for your relationships. To realize that all is within you is to realize you are infinitely wealthy. I mean, you are. I mean, you need to take care of your mortgage, your bank balance, all of that. It doesn't mean that you deny the importance of that, but that is seen within this basic abundance. I mean, abundant. I think you're underestimating it, Richard. It's more than abundant.
Yeah, super abundant. Can we go there?
Ultra, uber,
ultra, colossal. Ooh, we don't get to use that word enough. Colossal. Oh, do you ever find that you play with the nothingness and okay, so a good example of this is I love playing with that. There's nothing behind you. You can't see, there's just the void behind you until you turn and splat all your expectations onto it. So when I'm driving and I'm playing with, okay, everything's coming at me, like those fun arcade games we used to have in the 80s where you literally would sit, and the screen, everything's coming at you. Really kind of put this into, is like, oh yeah. But anyway, when you're really playing in real life and you're doing that and you see in your rear view mirror some big truck roars up on your butt, and in that moment it's like, okay, there's nothing back there. There's nothing back there. There's nothing behind me. There's no road behind me. There's no back of my seats behind me. And then I'll look at the street again and just kind of play, and I'll just glance right back up, and that truck is gone, even though I'm on a 2-lane long mountain road and there's no turnoffs. There's nowhere for that truck to have gone. And I look up and it's gone. Do you ever have fun things like that happen for you?
I think that you have the key and then you use it to open whatever door is in front of you. So there you're describing a particular situation where you used the key. Now, you can't guarantee that it will have any particular outcome when you use the key, but there you can only describe what happened, which is just what you've done. Yeah. But I mean, you're not talking about a key that only fits one door. You're talking about a sort of master key, do they call it? That opens every door. But I mean, you don't know what's on the other side of the door.
Yes, there's many times that truck has not disappeared.
Yes,
and it's like, it worked last time.
But I mean, I think that you discover, I mean, what you're saying there is something that I just have been thinking about. How you see, you can't see the wall behind you. So in effect, you dissolve it, right? Yeah. And it's in the void. Everything that you can't experience now is in the void and it's being cleaned, right? I mean, it's dissolved totally. See, it's not only my head that's gone, it's my back and the chair and the wall behind me and the rest of England and in fact, the rest of the planet, or whatever. So it is for the time being having at the spa. It's having a makeup, refreshing. So this is, you see, oh, well, really, Richard? That's the way it occurs to me, and I take that seriously. I take seriously that from my point of view, there isn't a wall behind me. I know there is from there, but from me, what is there? You see, this refreshing, cleansing water, clarity, ocean, silence. Mystery, you see, it's not just It's not human. Not human.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I definitely have been very aware that I'm not a subscriber of death. I've had death experiences, but it, again, as you were saying, you can never, you can't.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to subscribe. Yeah. No, I don't want a subscription. Thanks.
Nah, thanks. Not available for that one. Going in another direction. But I love that, you, like my sister lives in Florida. I'm over here in California, other side of the United States. I can't see her. I'm not talking to her right now. So is she alive? Is she dead? I know nothing of what's going on with her right now.
Well,
So
accept who she
that
really
she's
is.
in the void.
She is the void. She is
She
this
is.
void.
Yes. Ooh,
Yes.
I've never taken it to she is the void.
She
I've
is.
always been she's in the void. Oh, that you broke
Hello.
my brain. Oh, nice when somebody else breaks my brain. I love it.
Well, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. Oh, that's all. Yeah. So when I'm interacting with death, when somebody's saying, oh, so and so died, I'm always like, well, okay. You can play there, but
Have you seen that little cartoon? There's a little old man. It'd be me, like me, and I'm standing. There I am. I'm standing holding a Zimmer frame. You know, Zimmer frame. You know, one of those things you have to hold as an old person to keep the balance.
Yeah, we call them walkers.
And in front of you, there's death. In front of me, there's death with his sickle. You see, and death says to me, "I am death." I look up and I go, all right, well, I'll speak a bit louder then. I think it's a bit like that, isn't it? You get, I mean, death never does actually affect who you really are.
No.
It affects Richard. So that ups the stakes, because your human life is limited, so it's silly to deny that, I think. But that is in the context of this glorious, immortal, unborn, undying reality that you are and we all are. So don't overlook that. It won't stop you dying as a person. But my God, it is just, it's the victory. Douglas Harding, in his book, The Little Book of Life and Death, he said, St. Paul said, death, where is thy sting? Oh, grave, where is your victory? Or something like that. And Douglas said, well, after 2,000 years, we can finally answer St. Paul. It is there and not here. It's about death, about 2 feet away, but 0.
Well, for
it's
me,
as simple as that.
It is. That's so simple. Yes. Like for me, everything out there, as it shifts and changes, I see that as death. Yeah. And, it's just this constant for me observation. And, I walk from the bedroom to out here in the living room. Well, the bedroom version of me in the bedroom and the walls and all of that is now dead. And here's a rebirthing. And so it's just like all the time, millions of times.
That is so creative, isn't it?
Yeah. So
creative. The present moment is emerging in this out of, this mystery. I mean, I was looking at hyacinth on my table in the kitchen. I said, that's incredible. That incredible flower has just come out of a tiny little bulb, and just, I mean, it's huge now. And you think that is the void. Look. Creativity isn't here and there. The whole thing, you are irrepressibly, you can't stop it. Yeah.
No. Good luck trying.
How's that
working out for you?
Yeah, can we have a rest, please?
I know there's sometimes I'm like, can I get off for a second? Catch my breath. I love this. Let me see if there's any other questions here. That one we already covered. What's your favorite practice of the headless?
What's my favorite practice?
Yeah, of all your fun
the
techniques.
Fact that there isn't one.
This one.
The fact that there isn't one. No, I mean, I don't go around. I do it sometimes.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll make it look like I'm playing my hair, but
The brilliant thing is there isn't anything to do. There isn't a practice in a way. I mean, there is,
yeah.
it's a paradox. Are we practicing now? I suppose we are, but we're enjoying it now. It's more enjoyment than hard work, really.
Oh yeah.
It's light. It is. So I think there's a time for practice. And when I do workshops, you do all the things, and that's really good to do. And if we have Zoom meetings, I get people to lead people through because it guides your attention. The point of the experiments, Headless experiments, is not to achieve something, not even to change something, but it's to guide your attention from there to here, from 3 feet away to 0. That's it. It's a journey, and it from there to here, you see, and to the place that you've never left. So you make that journey, and you realize you haven't made a journey. That's the point. So I'd say, well, practice the favorite one. Eating ice cream, I think that was the one.
Told you, you're speaking my language again.
See where it goes.
I know. Where does that ice cream go?
We're now going to do the most advanced Headless Way experiment. Chocolate ice cream. Did you bring your spoons?
Yeah, I know. Everybody's like, I'm coming to that one.
Oh, I'll tell you, the other one I like is dancing. I love dancing. And we have these experiments where, I mean, there's a movement one where you turn and, like you were saying, you don't move. But then you stand next to someone and you put your arm out and they put theirs arm out and you move that. And both arms are coming out of one consciousness. But one's yours and one's the other person. And you see, I think that when you wake up to who you really are, at least speaking personally, I think I am inspired not to write a PhD about it, but to
dance about it. Oh, love that. I've had people ask me to write another book, and I'm like, I'd rather go for a hike. I'd rather.
Do you go there? Yeah. Really? No.
No. Go swim, go surf in the ocean, go play.
My current project is I'm researching Douglas Harding's life, and I knew him, of course, and I've been spending some years on this. I've got practically all the information together. I'm going through it, and it's just so interesting. I mean, I knew him well, but it just so interesting to see how creative he was. Yeah, he had found something. He found what we're talking about, which is just creative, isn't it? Just creative. And he wanted to tell the world, and the one in him wanted to tell the world. But we're all, you see, ambassadors. We're all representatives. We're all players in this great mystery. Fantastic, isn't it? Yeah.
Isn't it? For me, the more I play in the void, the more exciting, because like you said, everything is in there. There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer, despite the part of me that's like, oh, wait, I've just found the answer to the universe. Wait, where'd it go? I should have grabbed it a little tighter.
Maybe you could email that to me afterwards.
Send that to me. And I love that both, the fact that Douglas Harding existed for you, and yet he's in the void, how it can all be together at the same time.
I know. We had to put him back.
Yeah, we had to put him back. Brought him out to play with for a while, but just put him back up on the shelf for a while until we decided to bring him back.
I think they're going to put me back soon.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see if we can, I
There
loved,
must be a serious question there.
I know. I think they're supposed to be serious, but we already answered I do have one here. It says, if we have no head, then how can we then approach the illusion of having a headache, poor vision, earaches? You already answered that. Remove your head. But
Well, you see, you don't have a head, but you do. You don't have one here, but you have one there, but your headache is not in the head in the mirror. It's in this headless space here. You have a headache, you have pain, but it's not inside a container. At least it isn't for me. So you're not in denial. You're just sorting out where your appearance is and where your reality is. The appearance, you say, well, I can see your head, Richard. I say, well, you're about, 6 feet away. Well, why don't you? I'm interested in what I am here, not what I am over there. Why don't you come up towards me and see what you find? And if they could, and this is where we don't take it seriously, what science tells us, if the observer was to traverse the space between you there and me, you would come to a place where you don't see my body anymore, you just see my face, then a patch of skin, then a cell, a molecule, an atom, a particle. So if you take that seriously, you say, well, what I am at very close range is particles. Wow, that is very different from my head. Now, you need your particles, you need your molecules, you need your cells, you need your head. But it doesn't stop there. You need your whole body, you need your society, you need your country, you need your planet, you need your star and galaxy. It's all one system with many layers. And your head is one of those layers, which can't exist on its own. I can't sit here as Richard without the cells that make up Richard and the molecules that make up the cells, and without my atmosphere and my sunlight and my galactic body. Now, this puts it in a context, and science is not taking seriously what science says, that what you are changes with the range of the observer, what you are. So at center, you're not somebody with a head, you're not. Either from your point of view or from the outside observer, you see. So either you can, this is where Dr. Hine did fantastic work, either you can understand it in that physical context, and see that it makes sense. It makes better sense in the way you understand things. So it's not pretending you haven't got a head, or you can't see your head, but you really have one. Of course I have, but it's not here. See? And then you can put it in the developmental context, where to begin with you didn't know who you were. Then you empathize and see yourself from outside and through the mirror, become aware of being a person, overlook who you really are. That's the middle phase of normal adulthood. See? But then don't stop there. Go on to reawaken to your point of view and take that as seriously as everyone else's point of view. And then live that two-way appreciation of who you are, you see. And what other people see you to be is a person, but I mean, from Mars, you're the Earth. You are.
Yeah.
And true maturity, you see, growing up is maturity, is becoming aware of who you are in society and taking responsibility for that. I am Richard. I accept responsibility for everything I say and do. Well, as long as everyone's watching, right? That's maturity. And you're not mature if you go around saying, I'm not Richard. But it doesn't stop there. Keep maturing and really grow up into who you really, really are, which in terms of your appearance is many leveled. And in terms of you at the center is this clarity that you are looking out of. That's maturity. And we're only, most halfway as individuals and as a species. until we start to move on and live consciously and relate with each other in the context of, okay, you're Kristen there in California, I'm Richard here in London. All right, we get that. All right, we've got that bit. And now we are the one consciousness. There's only one, two voices in one consciousness. One consciousness, one. The greats have been saying this for thousands of years. Well, enough talk. Let's live it, you see. Let direct experience, the headless way, direct experience. See? I had an email from someone today, and they said, I just want to thank you because I am now, thanks to the headless way, seeing and living from who I really am, you see. And all I need to say is, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Not, oh, yeah, you are, but you got this bit wrong. You got, you know, and you actually, you need to surrender a bit more. And you, oh, you really understand. No, yes, you are 100%, because it is that available. Oh, I got a bit fired up there.
You wanted serious.
I did I?
You did.
Did I?
Poof.
Did that work?
Super, I call that super poofer. You wanted it, you poofed it. There it is. Poof. Some people call that manifestation. It blew completely. Completely.
I think we've almost sorted everything out.
Yes, all questions of the universe. Surrender and resistance. Oh, nice tug and pull and tug and pull. That's all this person asked. They just said, have them talk about surrender and resistance. I think you pretty much already have for an hour.
You see,
but
I say that in terms of being a body in the world, you know, you're always either surrendering or resisting. Yeah. And this is appropriate. Some things you need to resist and do your best to resist, and you know, and then there are other things or other phases of that experience where you need to finally say, you know, I can't change it, I've got to accept it. Or the right thing is to just say yes. But you, in a way, you can't surrender unless you've already resisted. That's like you can't return home unless you've been away. So in life, there is always this rhythm between resistance and surrender, and it will never end. That is life. That is life, you know. Now, there is this idea in spiritual circles that somehow you've got to surrender. See, well, I say good luck to you, in the sense that I just don't myself find that I can surrender all the time. I can't. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, and it's not appropriate.
It's another exhausting practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you recognize, but you see, the two sides of it. Your true nature is the perfect example of true surrender and true resistance. It
Allowance.
is true. Your true nature is truly surrendered because it's just nothing, and it says yes to everything. There is the prototype.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, whether you like it or not, you are saying yes to what is happening because you are nothing. You cannot do anything about it. See, so at that level, if you want to really, really surrender, see who you are. You see, in a certain sense, it is also total resistance because your true nature just says no to everything. It won't let anything in. It is free, right?
Yeah.
It is free. It's free. It's free. So it says yes and no. This then means that at the human level, you can be kind to yourself. And if you're resisting, you say, well, what did I expect? See? And if you're going through a hard time, you say, well, you know, when you've got a cold or flu or something, you know, it's just going to take time to pass through, right? You can't say, I'm just going to make it doesn't go. you have to sort of bear it. It's painful,
Yeah.
headache, have to bear it. See, but because you are not thinking that you should somehow not suffer or should not feel pain, and recognizing that this is life, then when you do, you have a kind of perspective that is kind. And you also, at the same time, you can rest back in this freedom, this total surrender of who you really are. The true surrender is the way you're built. So, of course, there are times when we need to surrender, but I don't find I can just turn surrender on. Finally, I am driven, kicking and screaming to finally accept it. That who I really, really am. It is not kind of, it doesn't get a black mark for when I find it hard to surrender. It just remains clean, clear, open, free, So it's very kind, very kind. There you go.
Love that. That was perfect. That was the perfect ending right there. I love it. Ah.
Well, you see,
You want to talk about endings? We got another hour.
Well, I'll speak up then.
So good. Just so good. Really nothing more to say there. It was, and there's so much more to say. But that was beautiful. Anything?
Well, and we can just say to the listener or the viewer that we are very happy to be this one space with you, and that's what we're celebrating here.
Yeah.
And it's a living experience, isn't it? It's a delight to hang out with you, Kristen, and to share our find out what happens in the great void together. Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I love about, for me, with the Headless is there's just no right or wrong, or this is the way, this is the law, this is it's just part of it. It's like this person's belief and understandings and the way and what they're interacting with is just part of me. It's just one of the many aspects that I get to play and see, and I get to just, oh, isn't that interesting? I like that. That take this part, let that part over there go, or whatever. It's just all. And I love how you were saying you can't just surrender, though you can, for me, it'll be like a blip will go by and there's that grab onto it again to try, and it slips right through your fingers. But I love how you said it's the yes to everything. It's the yes to everything.
Yes, and this is not achievement, you see. This is just the way you're built. So it's not like you have achieved something. It is just seeing. It's a non-verbal seeing, isn't it? A non-verbal. Now look, you see, where it's absolutely empty, clear. So I mean, it doesn't resist the wall. It doesn't resist the light. Doesn't resist the sound. It gets out of the way. The void is completely out of the way. It's gone. It's just not there. It just says yes to everything. That is true for everyone, you see. But I mean, sometimes it says yes to resistance. It says yes to no. It says yes to, I am you, but can I have my wallet back?
And why are you running away?
I am you. Goodbye.
Darn.
Nice to meet you. Not.
Oh, I love this. Thank you to everyone who is listening to this. Please comment below. Let us know what you got out of this, if anything. And yeah, once again, I'll put all Richard's information down below. But thank you again, and thank you to Richard for coming and
Thank you,
playing
Kristen, for
today.
inviting me. Yes.
Yes. All right. See you guys.